Welcome to Sex and the Solo Girl. Join your host, her inner circle, and expert guests weekly for chats about dating, secure attachment, the solo lifestyle, doing relationships differently, and of course, sex. And here's your host, Janice Formichella.
Let's talk about emojis. If you are following Sex and the Solo Girl or Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On, you will probably see in my feed that I'm a big fan of emojis. I use them a lot. Yes, I do have some of my favorites, but I also like to throw in new ones all of the time to either be funny or throw my friends off or be creative. I don't know. I just think they're cute. But did you know that emoji use is tied to emotional intelligence and higher communication and interpersonal skills? There was a study going all over the news late last year about this. And it involved out of the Kinsey Institute, which resulted in a paper for the journal PLOS1. And I'm sorry, I was not able to quickly find out what that acronym stands for. I got kind of annoyed. PLOS1.org. Let's get into it. I thought that this was really interesting. In fact, I wanted to put this up right away, but Janice has been a little bit busy with stuff. Do know that this year, well, actually, I've already started a series called Sex in the News. Scroll down a little bit because my partner and I, about a month and a half ago, did an episode on sexual fantasies and where Americans and the places Americans most want to have sex. So this is actually the second episode in the Sex in the News series. Okay. Before we get into how emoji use correlates with higher EQ, emotional intelligence, first of all, they might have been seen as kind of silly and casual previously, but studies, including this one, have shown that they are increasingly being used in professional communication to add clarity and tone to messages. And this is why a lot of dating coaches, including myself, highly recommend that, yes, you use emojis as much as you see fit in your communications with people who you are getting to know, maybe online, or people who you are dating, because let's face it, there is potential for there to be miscommunication when it comes to just texting. Emojis add clarity and tone to messages. I mean, think of this one. When someone texts you back and just says K or okay, a lot of people would see that as a diss. But think of it this way. If you add a smiley face or a heart or a laughy face after saying K or okay, the person will just know that you are in a hurry and they will understand your tone and you're not trying to diss them. And of course, that was my second point here, is that they can reduce miscommunication because they provide emotional context. Research also shows that people tend to use more emojis when discussing positive topics, whereas fewer emojis are used in formal or serious discussions. Yeah, I guess I can kind of get that. I try to avoid having text exchanges that involve conflict. I'm not perfect at it. I can think of maybe once in the past several months that I kind of got into it with my partner through text. I definitely apologized, and we have a commitment that we won't do that. And so we kind of recommitted to that. And I can say I probably wasn't using very many emojis. I can attest to that. Extroversion relates to using more emojis to avoid awkwardness and I'm a classic extrovert, use more positive emojis and less negative ones. A general personality of agreeableness relates to using emojis in order to express emotions, clarify, or disambiguate messages, lighten the mood, and convey a sense of humor. I have to say, I relate to both of those things. I think I'm agreeable. Do you think that you are agreeable? Let's talk about gender and emojis. Men tend to use a wider range of emoji types, but also more consistently punctuate emotional expressions with the same characters. I think I'm also, quote unquote, guilty of that, but I'm trying to think of the men in my life, and yeah, they might use them more frequently. They might be less wordy or less long winded, but probably a lot of the same ones. This is true. Women, on the other hand, tend to use emojis more frequently and positively, including in public versus private communications, and they perceive their use as clearer and more familiar. This is so cool. Another one. Women may also, oh, this was my favorite one actually. Okay, buckle up. Women may also feel societal pressure to use emojis in accordance with gendered expectations for communication style, as noted in previous research of these differences. There are studies that suggest that women are expected to use more quote unquote rapport talk. Studies suggest that women are expected to use more rapport talk, which focuses on relationship building, as opposed to men who are expected to use more report talk, which is more focused on task-oriented communication. Wow, what a microcosm for gender expectations. Besides emotional intelligence, emoji use also has some relation or differences or correlation to attachment styles. This is going to be interesting to a lot of you. It was to me. Before we talk about emoji use and attachment tendencies / styles, let us review these really quick. This is one of my favorite topics. You might have even found the show because of my love of attachment style or attachment theory and becoming securely attached. Avoidant attachment tendencies. These are people who, once they are in relationships, might avoid intimacy in various ways. They might be scared or feel fearful of confrontation. They might be scared or fearful of serious conversations. They may not like to commit to certain things. Please know, being avoidant does not mean that you don't want relationships or that you are going to run from love. It means that certain things about relationships are hard for them to navigate. Anxious people with anxious, secure tendencies will want things to be resolved right away. They might feel most comfortable when they have regular communication with their partner. They will become very uneasy if there are conflicts that linger. The classic example of someone with anxious tendencies is that they want a lot of texting, and when they don't hear from their partners, will become anxious. Or perhaps when they don't hear from someone they've started dating, they will start to catastrophize. This type of thing. They like a lot of reassurance in relationships, new and established. Disorganized attachment. We're not going to talk about this one. It did not come up in the study. People with a disorganized or fearful attachment tendency may have unpredictable behavior and difficulty trusting others. And of course, secure attachment. Secure attachment is characterized by feelings of trust, safety, and comfort in relationships, and willingness to rely on others, and belief that one is loved and valued. And you can definitely get there. I had times in my life where I was avoidant. I had times in my life where I was anxious. I am secure. That does not mean that I am perfect. But I do think that I navigate relationships a lot better than I used to. And I choose wisely. And I am in a very good relationship right now. What is emotional intelligence? When we are talking about emoji use and emotional intelligence, what are we talking about? This is from one of the articles I read about it. This one from HuffPost, I believe. The working definition of emotional intelligence is that these people are better at understanding and managing their own emotions and recognizing and responding to the emotions of others. And we can all strengthen our emotional intelligence whenever we decide to. It takes work, but it's possible and it is worth it. What do emojis have to do with high emotional intelligence? People with high EQs tend to use emojis more frequently because, like I said before, emojis help them to express their emotions clearly in digital conversations. Love it. And again, from the same paper, when examining emotional intelligence and emoji use, it was found that participants with higher emotional intelligence interpreted emoji-laden messages as self-revelatory, while those with lower emotional intelligence viewed them as conveying factual information. So rather than seeing them as something that the other person is trying to convey or reveal, or something that has to do with this person's personality or this person's sarcasm, people with a lower emotional intelligence saw them as factual and that somehow they related to something that perhaps they didn't quite understand or something that was very real rather than something that was self-revelatory or something that you understand about the other person, either intuitively or because of knowing them or just simply because you get the nuances of relationships. And simply that you understand the nuances in communication and personalities and relationships and those things. Are you loving this so far? Because I sure am. It's making me think of a lot of people I know and making the correlation between their emotional intelligence or just communication ability and their emoji use. This is fun. So the ultimate finding of the study is that these findings, the ones that I just went over above, pave the way for deeper exploration into how emotional intelligence intersects with other psychological frameworks, particularly attachment. And they have a few findings, and I'm thinking that we're going to be looking at this more in 2025 because this is a topic of great interest and great relevance, if you ask me. Understanding this intersection could be crucial in comprehending the nuances of how people form and maintain relationships in an increasingly digital world. A few findings on attachment style and emoji use. Again, from the study, I'm going to link all of these things from what was it? Poly One? Is that the name of the journal? Anyways. Those with secure attachment also use emojis often because they feel emotionally secure and connected to others. Now let's talk about a little bit of avoidance. Researchers found that women with higher levels of attachment avoidance were less likely to send and receive emojis with friends or people they were dating and intimate partners. I guess we have to think about why that is. The paper did not go into that at all. And this carried over with men as well. Higher levels of avoidant tendencies revealed fewer emojis. This is partially because those with avoidant tendencies may find it hard to express themselves or not feel safe doing so. In short, they're more guarded. Okay, I can get that. And what about those with anxious attachment tendencies? There's actually a lot more interest in anxious attachment, I feel, these days. So what about their emoji use? There was no definitive results, meaning they seem to be at the average point. Again, I think we're going to be seeing more of this, both because of the interest in attachment and the interest in emojis, and also just how ubiquitous they are. And along those lines, there were limitations of this study. So if you are feeling confronted by this, or just not feeling that you relate at all, let's talk quickly about those. The authors and participants in the study mainly identified as white, educated, married, heterosexual, and English speaking. They also said, and of course, that future research would examine possible differences in larger or more diverse participants. Yeah, I hope it does. And I am keeping my eye on this space. I have the link to the article right in front of me. Let's talk about emojis and dating and start that off with a conversation about just fun facts about emojis and their use in 2024. Do you know what the most confusing emojis were? What do you think the most confusing emojis are? Number 1, 2, and 3. First of all, an emoji of someone painting their nails purple. What does that convey? Second, a blowing cloud. And third, the upside down smiley face. What the hell are you using that for? If this is one emoji that you use, please let me know why and under what circumstances would you be sending that to someone. Ooh, let's go through the top 10 emojis in 2024. And because these are the top 10, everyone's going to know what I'm talking about, even though I am just talking. First of all, face with tears of joy. Everyone knows that. Everyone uses it all the time. Uncontrollable laughter and extreme happiness. Next, a red heart. I use that one with my partner many times a day. Third, a thumbs up. Okay. It conveys approval, encouragement, appreciation. Next one, rolling on the floor laughing. ROFL. This one is kind of a bummer. The crying face with a single tear is one of the most popular emojis in the US. Another one that kind of surprised me, the heart hands. The hands making a shape of a heart. I only use that once in a while, but I guess it's one of the top 10. Okay, this really surprised me. The check mark button. I don't know if I've ever used one of these. So, they're a little square, green, red, black, and it signifies agreement or completion. These were in the top 10. And I guess it makes sense since we are saying that emojis are being used more in professional situations. So perhaps that's why it's becoming increasingly popular. I went on Facebook and asked people if they ever use these. I was surprised because I had several friends who say that it makes them think of Wordle or that they use it for Wordle. I don't play Wordle, so I don't know. If you use the check mark emoji, let me know. Another from the top 10, sparkles. I like that one. I like sparkles. I have sparkly everything. It's kind of my trademark. It can represent that something is sparkly clean or magical. It can represent excitement or celebration. Another from the top 10, the loud crying face. It conveys intense emotions when words fall short. And this is one that I use all the time. Person with folded hands, which represents prayer, gratitude, or virtual high fives. I use it when I am expressing gratitude all the time. So those were the top 10 emojis in 2024. What were the newest emojis in 2024? Some of you may remember that the shaking face was new. I've used that a couple times. 2 pushing hands, that was new this year. And a plain pink heart. If you have an iPhone, you will have noticed that one. We had lots of colored hearts before, but we didn't have that light pink, almost like hot pink one. There was also added a light blue heart, a gray heart. I have that one actually in my show notes. A donkey, a jellyfish, a hair pick, and a khanda, which is a symbol of the Sikh faith. Right? Those were the new ones this year. Do you want to know what the new ones coming in 2025 are? Get ready. A leafless tree. We're going to have a purple splatter, a shovel, a heart, a beetroot, okay, a fingerprint. Oh, that's cool. And a flag for Sark, which is an island in the English Channel. Shout out to everybody from Sark. You're going to have your own emoji now. Cool. And a tired face with puffy eyes. It's going to really make me sad if that one becomes popular. Now let's talk about dating and emojis. Do you want to up your dating game? I did a bunch of research and found a bunch of articles to get tips on how to use emojis in dating. So here are a few of my favorites. If you would like to break the ice, use a friendly emoji like the winky face to kick off a conversation. Do you want to create fun tension with someone you're dating? Use playful emojis like the one with the squinty eyes and the tongue sticking out. I probably use that one every day as well. And the laughy face with the tears, again, to create fun tension. Do you want to be affectionate? Use the kissing emojis. This will show that you're sentimental. And do you want to tease someone or get things to be a little spicy? Use an emoji like the devil, the purple devil. Ooh. Didn't really think of that one as sexy, but okay. I will often send my partner the emoji of the biting lip. I don't know if any of you use that a lot, but that is a sexy emoji, and I will send it to him often, and I think it does the trick. And remember that upside down smiley face? So how would you use that in a dating context? This was from one of the blog posts I came upon. I'm gonna give you a bunch of examples. When you really want to be sly and throw your crush for a loop, give them the hard to read upside down smiley face emoji. They'll have to pay really close attention to get the full message, but it'll be a fun little game. For instance, I might see you as a little bit more than a friend with the upside down smiley face. Or I didn't RSVP to the event just so I could see you again. Upside down smiley face. This one's cute. This also has kind of a level of American sarcasm. I totally don't check my phone every time I get a notification from you. Upside down smiley face. Yeah, you do. You are into this person. You are grabbing for that phone. And finally, if you are looking to up your emoji game and get more dates, according to dating app users, a blushing smiley face, a smiley face with hearts for eyes, or a cup of coffee within a bio are the most likely to guarantee a right swipe. There you have it, dear listeners. Emojis and emotional intelligence, emojis and attachment style, fun facts about emojis, and emojis in dating. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you are using emojis. Let me know your favorite emoji. Please go over to Instagram, Janice Formichella, all one word. Just say hi. Let me know that you listened to this episode. I will personally send you something in the mail if you come over to Instagram and say hi to me. I cannot wait to hear from you, and I will talk to your ears very soon.
Thank you for listening to Sex and the Solo Girl with Janice Formichella, the podcast for those who want to add more flavor to their relationships with themselves and others. If you liked today's episode, make sure to head over to Instagram and let her know. See you next week.